as I let people in here. So every single Wednesday, 1 o'clock, we do the tech enabled agent. This is so you as an agent can learn and master every single type of system you have available to leverage yourself, grow your business, and make life easier for you as you grow your business, right? So each week we do a different subject as either myself as an instructor, Kirsten, one of our amazing agents, Rachel, one of our great coaches. So today's specific topic, for anybody who has not been part of any previous ones, we do have all of them recorded on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and you can watch those. I will also show all of you a resource on Keller Williams' page itself, the KW Connect page, where it teaches everything that we're kind of going through as well. Okay, today's topic is referrals. Always a great topic. So we're actually going to go through, for those of you who've not met me yet, excuse me, my name is Alana. I am the Director of Coaching Business Development here at Keller Williams Legacy. And I love this topic. I love talking about referrals. So I want to talk about a few things. One, we're going to go through what is a referral? What does that mean to you, both internal and external? We're going to show in Command how to find people if you need to send a referral to anywhere in the nation. So I'm going to show you how you can start making those connections. And then we're going to, so again, 1, what is a referral? 2, how to find people to refer to. And then 3, how to also build a referral business within your business. Okay, we'll talk about what that means. If there is any questions as we're going through, is there something specific you want me to show or walk through? If I'm going too fast, stop me, interrupt me, because I can literally just talk for the next hour. All right. So right now I am in Command. Command is your ecosystem for your business. Okay. And on the left-hand side, if you think about Command, I say this almost every time I teach this class. I teach tech-enabled agent. If you think about Command, you think about your phone. They're very similar. So our smartphones has apps to make our lives easier, right? Amazon, banking, social media, games, right? Command has applets to make our business easier. Okay. So all these things, and by the way, all I did to open this up, if I click up here on the red KW box, it opens up what they are, right? Or if you hover over them, they'll actually tell you as well. Today, we are specifically focusing on referrals. Okay, there's a lot of other things. There's videos on all of that, different classes, but today is just referrals. All right, so while this is opening up, because there's always a lag when you're on Zoom, let's talk about referrals. So there's a few things when we think about referrals. Number 1 is I have people I know throughout the nation. Right? My brother lives in California. My dad lives in Florida. My cousins live in Texas and Florida and Connecticut. My brother is looking to purchase a house in Paris. So we have connections everywhere. We have friends. Do you have people you know in any other locations around the world? Texas? New York? Yeah. Okay. California? Yeah, it's like they're right. So we know people all over. So we can't just put ourselves in this little bottle and say, I'm going to be an agent for people I meet here in Maryland. No. I mean, yes. And let's open that bottle up a little bit, right? And it's saying, okay, I'm going to be a resource in the agents for people here in Maryland, but I can help anybody nationwide. Thinking of somebody during this class, I'm just call on you. So thank you. Thinking of somebody you know in one of those states. Do you have like a relative in one of those states?
Yes.
Okay.
Like Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Who's in Los Angeles? Your uncle?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want, if your uncle was buying or selling a house, would you want your uncle using an agent who has never gone through training, is unethical, will lie to him? I'm doing extremes right now. Would you want your uncle to work with that person?
No. not at all.
So you'd probably like to help your uncle find somebody good.
Right.
Right. So until you build your network of agents in all different states, which I'm going to teach you how to do today, what you can say to your uncle today, you can literally call your uncle today, and call your uncle and say, hey, I don't know if you've heard of real estate. And just so you know, while I live here in Maryland, I partner with agents throughout the entire nation. You might not know anybody yet, but that's okay. You can still say to people, I partner with people throughout the nation, right? I was on a call last week. My brother calls me, again, lives in California, and they go to Paris a lot. And as he was talking, him and his wife, I was like, a little music in the background. I mean, I can totally okay, I can get down with that. So as we were talking last week, him and his wife were telling me about when they're going back out to Paris, how long they're staying for, how they're, they keep renting different places, right? I'm just talking with music in the background. It's really cool. And it is kind of soothing. We're talking about referrals. We're all soothing here. Like, this is kind of fun. I like it. Like, chill, right? It's like a chill vibe. So I said to them, I know amazing agents with 5 Keller Williams offices in Paris. I was like, I know amazing agents in Paris. Now, do I actually have a connection in Paris? Not yet. But do we have partnerships with amazing agents there with Keller Williams? Absolutely. So I was like, do not buy a house. And I literally pointed my finger. I was like, do not think about buying a house without letting me connect you with someone, which means I can then refer.
You have better knowledge, you're better, and there's more to track.
Exactly. We can look up track records, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to vet them out. How responsive were they? What's their background like?
So now, every transaction you go through, do they they give reviews back to the company?
Reviews are only done if you ask for reviews.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother class. But reviews are only done if they ask for a review. Right? So what I want to show you right here. So again, the moral of that story is, think of your business as worldwide, right? You don't just need to find a buyer, seller, investor in Maryland. Who do you know that's not in Maryland that you can call today and say, I'm in real estate. I have partnerships with agents where you live. Anything you need real estate wise, please use me as your resource to connect you with someone good who's going to take the best care of you, right? All right, so let's show you how to connect people. So again, I went to the referral network. There's a few things you can do here, right? I can send referrals. We'll get into that. Right now, we want to actually build our network of people. So I'm going to go right here and say my network. Okay. And then see here where it says grow my network. Okay, so I'm going to click on grow my network. So this is step number 1. So if you're like, what should I do today? Number 1, call everybody you know in another state and let them know that you can help them with real estate. Number 2, connect with agents today in those states. And here's how to do it. So over here, so again, I went to my network, grow my network, and I'm going to look on the map. So you mentioned Texas. What part?
Austin.
Okay. So I'm going to go to Austin, Texas, the home of Keller Williams. Yeah. I'm going to say the home. There's the thing. If I wanted to, I can sort by production. I can look up certain things.
What would be like the main top thing?
I'm going to give you the 3 main. So I'm going to give you best practices that I've used over the years and other agents I've worked with have used. And then as you grow your business, you can adopt those and find your own. So I'm going to give you a few of those like best practices right now. Number 1 is, notice all these green dots. Those are all offices. How many agents are in that office? So I'm going to click on just the center of Austin right here. Now over here, it's going to give me a list of agents. I'm going to give you a few things. Number one, anytime I see that somebody does not have a picture, I will never, now this is, again, I'm using the word I right now because in this class today, some of the best practices are things I've learned the hard way from referring people over the past few years. I have absolutely referred agents to agents who did not take care of somebody and I lost that person. They chose another buyer or seller and did not let me refer them again. I've lost business that way. I have not followed up properly to see how things were going and lost business that way. So there's a lot of things that we as referring agents need to still do, right? We're not helping them buy or sell a house. That's the person in Texas, right? So I'm not going to pick someone who didn't have time to put a picture in here. Really? You didn't put a picture in your system? Like, how detail oriented are you? That's, again, a little pet peeve of my own. So I'm just going to randomly click somebody. So here's somebody right.
Generally, I feel like
Yeah, and it's not, and I wouldn't say it's not so much trust. It's more of, if you don't take the time to put a picture, how much time do you spend with your clients? Right? Like, this is your business, right? So I'm going to look down here and I'm going to look at different things. So for example, this guy, Joe from Austin, Texas, I know nothing about him. So I can click on the arrow and it's going to show me that Joe has closed something in Austin, Texas, right? 1.9 million on nice, right? And it was the buy side. So if I'm working with somebody who wants to buy a house, Joe's closed something and a buyer, right? Now, if I'm looking to refer someone who wants to list a house, I might not connect with Joe. Right now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to connect with Joe. So this is how I'm going to connect with him. Right here next to this button, or sorry, right here next to his name is a little button with a plus symbol. Would you like to send an invitation? Yes. Now, you can either send invitation and it just goes directly to his email and it will say, Alana Huber-Katz from Towson, Maryland has sent you has asked to join her network. That's it. That's all it says. And then he clicks accept and he's in my network. Doesn't send him a referral, doesn't do anything else. It just puts him in my network for the future, right? Or I could send a personal message, right? So for example, if I had a relative in Texas, I would actually send, hi, Joe. I'm an agent in Maryland and have relatives in Texas. Growing my network to prepare to hopefully have future referrals to send out. So I'm telling Joe, I have family there. I'm looking to grow my network, meaning meet people, get a relationship, right? And I don't have a referral yet. And then I send an invitation. Now he gets an email and it actually says the message in it. I'm actually going to, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look up Towson, Maryland. So I'm going to actually send one to one of you. So I'm going to send something to somebody in this office right here. By the way, Towson, Maryland means they had production in Towson, Maryland. It doesn't actually mean they are necessarily with this office because they could be part of the Greater Baltimore Board of Realtors, have something in this area, right? So let me look up, I'm actually going to look up Rachel. What filters do I have on right now? Oh, you can also filter, right? So if you are looking for commercial, luxury, military specialization, I don't typically filter by that. Here's why. If I do, I might test out the filter, but then I'll remove it. The filter means that agent had to take an extra step in their Keller Williams profile to put in their specialization. Most agents don't know to do that. So you can have an amazing military focused agent, but if they didn't go into their profile and command and put the words military, they wouldn't show up here. So yeah, you would never know. Exactly. So I might try the filter out if nobody shows up, or I'm like not feeling out who shows up, I'll take the filter off, right? So it's kind of like you kind of play with it a little bit.
I do see they have the agent who want these at the
Young professionals.
young professionals.
Yep. If you want somebody with some sort of closings in that area, you can actually filter by close units, right? If you're like, I want someone with at least 3 closings in the area, right? Or at least 1, right? You can filter by that. Listings versus buyers. Again, I don't usually filter by average list price unless it's a luxury property. That's the only time I'll typically filter by list price, sale value, or list price, or I'll click on luxury. If somebody says, like if I were to get somebody to reach out and say, oh, I'm looking for something in the 2 to 3 million range in California. Who do you know? Okay, I'm going to come in here and I will filter by luxury because I want that specialization.
So when you felt this, like, would it be so good to just try to keep it open? Try to keep it open feel to things like sometimes agents at first.
Yes. So the question was, do you meet with all types of agents? Do you filter,
Yeah,
right?
instead of filtering, like you just keep like an open base and try to keep it like all types of specialists. That way you got a good feel of what you like or like such line.
So in the beginning, grow your network without filtering. So you have all types of network. And so I'm going to give you 2 best practices. I wonder if I can look up La Jolla. La Jolla Ranch, California. Okay. So number 1, search by the area. Agents come up, right? And I'm going to go ahead and connect with, by the way, you can connect with way more than 1 person. I recommend that.
At one time.
At what? Yep. So I can click connect to, I'm just going to send invitations, connect with her. I'm going to connect with him. Say for the sake of the class, I'm not typing any messages, but I'll probably send something later to them saying my brother lives in that area. Right. So I have sent a connection request to all 3 of these people, meaning I'm growing. When they accept it, I've grown my network in California. Okay. Now, let's say you now have something. So your uncle says, oh my God, I want to buy a house. I want to buy a new house. So you can say, great, I'm going to connect you with a great agent. Do you want me to just line one up for you? Or would you like me to have 2 or 3 that you can also talk to and feel out? I usually ask that of the person because people, some people like to interview their own people. I never give more than 3 because that's way too many. So I say to them, okay, great, I'll line somebody up for you. I'll then come in here, connect with, pick out 3 or 4 people. I'm going to connect with them, but then I'm going to call each of them. And here's why. I'm going to call all of them. And I'm going to say in the voicemail, if nobody picks up, I'm going to say in the voicemail, I have a uncle who lives in Austin, Texas, looking to buy a house. I'm looking to refer him out to somebody who has a background in specializing in works with buyers. Please give me a call, blah, blah, blah. Right? I'm an agent with Keller Williams here in Maryland. Number 1, if you leave 4 voice messages, this is so important. You will get burned if you do not do this. If you leave multiple voice messages, let's say for 4 different people, and one of them doesn't call you back within 24 hours, don't ever use that person. They're non-responsive. Don't use somebody who has non-responsive, 24 hours max. Right? 2, if they call you back in a reasonable time, meaning that same day, then talk to them. Be like, hey, see how you feel, right? Would you want them to help you buy a house? Are you connecting with them? How much do they know the area? How long have they lived there? Right? How long have they been an agent? Now that one I'm not too concerned about, because with Keller Williams, they have coaches, they have trainers. So it could be an amazing agent who is an individual agent who just got into real estate 8 months ago, but knows the area and has lived there 20 years. If I make a good connection with you on the phone, I'd probably refer you. Right? So don't think that somebody with the highest production will give them the best customer service, because I absolutely, true story, sent a referral of a good friend of mine back in 17 to a agent friend of mine who has been in this business 15 plus years. So you think, okay, he's good at what he does, right? So 15 plus years, he's a great business. So obviously he is good at what he does. So I referred my friend. Number one, personality wise, they did not mesh. Number two is this agent was so super busy, and my friend was a first time home buyer and terrified that my friend needed more hand holding. This agent didn't have the time or patience to give it. Okay. So what happened was my friend fired that agent, went out on their own and found somebody else. I did not follow up with it. So when I finally did, my friend was like, oh, that did not work out. I found my own agent. Thanks so much. Right? So one, are they responsive? Are they getting back to you? Are they answering the phone when you call, or at least calling you back the same day? Two, what's that connection like on the phone? How do they know the area? What is your feeling? Right? And then three, letting them know, say, hey, you know what? If I call Gustavo here, hey, Gustavo, I'm reaching out. So I'm on the phone with him. I'm reaching out and I'm talking to a few agents in the area to interview a few to help my brother buy a house. Tell me a little bit about yourself. He's interviewing for this opportunity. He needs to pour into, like, oh my God, I've lived in the area 10 years and this is what I've done. And even though I've only sold one house, this is how I market. This is how I'm going to prospect for him. Tell me a little about your brother.
And you would be like on the other side too, at one point too, like you would be able to grow.
It's the same thing, right? So if somebody now, and that's actually my next thing I'm going to show you guys, is if somebody refers business to you, right? Whoever you refer to, they're the extension of that person, right? So if I refer to Gustavo, Gustavo is an extension of me. If Gustavo refers somebody to me, I just like that name, so I'm going to say it. If he refers somebody to me, I'm the extension of him, right? So if I do an amazing business, he's going to preach my name. He's going to be that raving fan. Right? So he's probably going to refer me more business in the future. And if he knows anybody in his office who has somebody from Maryland, again, trickle effect, he'll refer even more. Right? So that communication, the customer experience, all of that on both ends is so crucial, right? And then in our world, as the referrer, so I'm sending something to Gustavo in California. I'm now going to, let's say Rachel's my person I referred to Gustavo. So I got them connected, right? I then sent, so this little button right here, I then sent in writing, this is writing, okay, I'm going to charge 25%. That's kind of a nation standard. You as an agent, when you refer to somebody, you set the amount. 25 is kind of like that unspoken standard that agents have across the nation. You will see agents do higher than that. You typically don't see lower than that unless it's like an investor, right? I once saw an agent do 50%. I'm like, well, really? They're not doing any of the work. Why would they do 50? Right? So I actually advised that agent to go back and be like, you might want to negotiate that because you're going to do all the work. Why would you give them 50? Right? So they actually negotiate that down to 30. Acceptance deadline, that means when I send this to him, I'm not just sending this. I've had a conversation. Hey, I'm going to send you this right now. Go into your email, accept it. Right? Against that responsiveness. I may or may not know.
Typically 24 hours.
Well, I can, like, if he's like, hey, I'm not gonna be on my computer for a little bit, I can put this for whatever I want, all the way up to 94. Right? This is simply for him accepting it online, but I've already had the conversation and we've already verbalized what's coming over. Right? But yeah, typically 24 hours is like a standard. Yeah. Minimum price. If you've talked to your friend or your uncle and you know they want to buy something around 300,000, you can put that in there. If you don't know, you can leave it blank, right? The more information you have, the more it helps the agent have a better handoff, right? Any note you want to send to that agent, right? You can also, so you can send this and they can't see any of that client information until they accept it. That's really nice because if you send it to somebody and you realize that they're not accepting it, you don't really like them, like you can then delete this. And they don't have that person's information, contact information, right? And then of course the client, who's the buyer or seller, what's their name? If you know their address, what's their address, desired location, how do they get in touch with them?
You put typically current address, right?
Or right here, the client's address would be if your uncle is selling a house and the house is at 123 Main Street, I would put 123 Main Street. So then this agent in Austin, Texas would know what property to look up. So when he calls your uncle, hey, I've already looked up your property online, right? I'm working up a market analysis. I'm going to come out and let's set up a time to meet, right? So the address here is that person's address. Now, if you're talking to someone who's buying a house and they're a renter, that's not a required field. There's no red asterisk. You can just leave it blank because you wouldn't put in a rental property because nobody cares about rental properties. So if I send this, they then get an email and they have to accept it. So let me just revisit a few things we talked about here, and then I want to move on to the next phase. Okay, so I'm going to bring Austin, Texas back up. So number one is letting people who you know throughout the nation or world know you're in real estate and that you can help them with their real estate needs because you have partners. You have partnerships with amazing, talented agents where they live. So they know when they have a real estate need to come to you. Then I would recommend starting with, if you have, like you mentioned, California, Texas, and New York. So if you have locations where you already have connections, start making connections there. Start growing your network there, right? You're not sending anything yet. But I can click Austin, Texas and be like, okay, well, let's see. I'm going to click on Bobby Moats. I'm going to click on, again, I would send a message, right? So pick a few people. Don't overthink it. I usually just scroll down the list and I usually find a combination. You'll see here teams, groups, and then you'll see, keep going. You'll see an individual. So if it doesn't say team or group, it means they're an individual agent, right? And that's up to you. Agents on teams, agents on groups, individuals. I usually connect with a few different people, both individual and on teams. I like feeding personally individual agents, so I usually give most of my referrals to them over people on teams. That's, again, my personal business that I do.
So Nicholas, right there, he would be like,
he's an agent on a group. Yep. Group and team, same thing. Yep. Exactly. Right. So go through and grow your network. Go and connect with 10 people in Austin, Texas, 10 in California, 10 in New York. Right. Exactly. All right.
And so once you do make a list where, or like a section where you would have like, oh, these are my specific.
So there's two things. So the question was, when you do make these connections and referrals, is there a list? So yes, there's two lists. So in my network, you see here all these names. These are people, and I have, see how many people I have in my network. I have 172 people in my network. Okay. So these are people that through the years, I haven't sent 172 referrals, but I've grown my network nationwide to have connections in multiple states. So this is the list of everybody in my network. So at any time I can, if I need somebody in, South Carolina or Orlando, I can go to my network I've already grown and simply send them a referral. And of course, call them. Don't just send something. You have to call. Pick up the phone and call people. Now the always call first. You don't know what their life is like. You don't know if I might have connected with somebody, like for example, this Aaron guy. I remember him. I connected with him. I met him at family reunion years ago. We had a great interaction. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna connect with you. Yeah, family reunion travels around. So next year it's in California. So I connected with him years ago. I don't know if he's still in the business. I don't know if he has a full-time job now and does real estate. I know nothing about Aaron. So I'm not going to send my friend to Aaron until I talk to him. Because again, Aaron would be an extension to me. And if he's been in the business 3 years and hasn't sold anything, he probably has a full-time job and doesn't focus on real estate. Real estate's probably not any priority. It's probably a hobby, right? So yes, always call. Always call. That's the relationship, right? Now, when you send referrals, so I'll go to my referrals up here, clicking up there. So when you send referrals, then this will actually track it and it will show, so for example, click on all. Now here's the thing, you can send them. What drives most agents crazy is agents do not take the time to update information. So for example, this one right here, that's my best friend. That's a good friend of mine I referred to. Now I know she is no longer looking for a house. And I know that her son is getting licensed. And when she does go back to look for a house, she'll use her son. Right. So I know she's already talked to him. That's no longer a referral. Right. But I sent it to him. He accepted it. He was working with her. He hasn't gone back in to update this in any way because most agents do not take the time to do that. It is what it is, right? But I can go in here and I'm like, okay, well, what's active, what's lost, what's pending, right? So all the different referrals, right? So for example, I sent this one a long time ago to another, all my business because I'm here as a full-time coach is a referral. So I sent this one 2 years ago. This one closed. I got 25% off of this one. I remember that one. Again, Matt never went back in the system to close it out, right? I never went back in the system to close it out just because I forget. Like I got my check, he had his check, I got my check, we're good. Like,
And that's more typical.
yeah, so they all live in here. They all like, this is one thing I will tell you about referrals is everything in writing. Command means this is writing right here, right? I don't mean handwritten, this is writing. So if somebody asked me recently, can I refer somebody to somebody at another brokerage? You can refer to anybody you want. It's your business. Keller Williams has a tracking system and we play nice in the sandbox with all Keller Williams because we're under the same umbrella. So if I referred business to Rachel and Rachel worked with them, found them a house, sold their house and bought them a house. And let's say she's with a totally different brokerage, right? And she's not in command, she's with a totally different brokerage. And we had a paper referral form, which we do have that as well. And I never get paid. I never get my 25% on each side. Yes, I will call the broker there and I'll have my broker call their broker and all of that. I might or might not get it. No, I referred it and they had it. It's because she might be, I'm not going to name other brokerages, so I'm going to call them ABC brokerage, right? If that brokerage never cut the check to me, I don't have a foot to stand on to go after them. right? Now, if Rachel is with Keller Williams, and let's say she's with Keller Williams in Texas, and I refer her somebody and I send it through here, and let's say that she forgets when getting paid, she forgets to tell the finance department to send the referral payment to me. I am going to follow up and be like, hey, I talked to my friend. They sold their house. Congratulations. Thank you so much for taking great care of them. Just curious, the referral fee, has that been put in the mail? And she'll be like, oh my God, let me check on that. I totally forgot. In which I can call the finance department there. I can have, it's very easy to call them and they'll be like, whoops, let's take care of that. Because it's Keller Williams to Keller Williams as opposed to Keller Williams to ABC Company. Again, as an agent, you can do whatever you want. Just know that this protects you more. That's all. Oh, let me check the chat box. What do you tell your friends or relatives who expect you to share your referral fees with them? Great question. So number one, I've actually only been asked that twice. Once was from my brother and once was from my dad. I've never actually, no, that's not true. 3 times. One of my friends asked me once, but like crazy close friend. Actually, that one right there. There's 2 ways to approach that topic. One is, yep, the agent who I'm going to refer to you has already been vetted. They're amazing. I'm going to also follow up, making sure you are getting taken care of. And if something is not happening, I will step in and help in any way I can. And if they come back and say, well, what are you getting paid? Yep, I get a referral fee off of this. Absolutely. And they say, well, what are you getting paid? You can either say that's between me and that agent. Or I'll be honest, when my best friend asked me, my dad asked me, my brother asked me, I told them, right? Like when I was talking to my brother last week and he said he's maybe buying a house in Paris, I said, you better let me refer you someone so I can also make money off of you buying me a house in Paris or buying a house in Paris. I said it right like that. So it depends on your relationship with that person and what you do and don't want to say. There's no right or wrong with that. That's up to you, right? And it's very rare that somebody asks you that unless they're like super close and they want to help you earn a lot of money, right? Like she knows I have goals. She knows I love to travel. She knows the more money I make, I get to travel more. So like for her, she's like, okay, if I use this person, like you're getting something, right? Because listen, I want to go, like, I want us to go to Germany together. And if that's going to help us go to Germany together, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I was like, you use this person, I'm going to get money and we go to Germany. Right? So Teresa, did that answer your question?
Yes, because
Oh, you cut out.
in Canada was the question, okay, what am I getting out of it? So I had to struggle to tell them. So I just said the law does not permit to pay somebody who is not an agent. So,
Yeah, so
whatever.
Now here's the thing. If somebody asks you, this is a very good point you bring up. If somebody says to you, well, why would I let you refer me someone? What am I getting out of it? Number one, if they're not a licensed agent, they cannot get any referral fees. That is a huge no. You will lose your license. They will get in trouble. Everybody loses. And I think it's also like $100,000 fine. Like it's insane. Now, if they are just simply asking like, why would I, like, why do I need you to refer? Like, I know people, why do I need you to refer me someone? Like, what do I get out of that? You know what? Great question. I love that you're asking me that. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you the truth. As my friend, I'm going to tell you the truth. And that is most agents are not trained properly. Many agents out there do not know the business, will not take the best care of you to find what you're looking for, or they might not be able to negotiate or work best on your behalf. What I want to do is make sure you're in the right hands with the right person to help you. Now, here's the thing, whether they want that or not, that's up to them. True story. Some people will use you, some people won't. My husband's parents, so my in-laws for over 12 years, they sold their house in PA. bought a house in Virginia, sold their house in Virginia. No, sold in PA, bought in North Carolina, sold in North Carolina, bought in South Carolina, sold in South Carolina, bought in Virginia. They never once allowed me to refer them to anyone, ever. And they're all over $700,000 homes. You do the math on that, right? So they absolutely refused. My husband's like, let her connect you with someone. They refused. Is that a little dagger in my heart? Absolutely. It hurts. Nothing you do about it, right? As an agent, we suck it up, we move on. Now, the good news about that is not good news. The silver lining to that is the last house they bought, that agent took advantage of them like crazy. They got into a house they should not have gotten into at the worst price. And they regretted it ever since. And she actually, when we were visiting, she said, I should have let you help me. I was like, yep. That's all I said. Just, yep. So, but again, anytime they buy or sell in the future, I already know not to expect them to let me do anything. So we will not win everyone. It's just going to happen. Okay. I want to show one other thing. So again, underneath referrals, let me go back to the home screen. In my network, the very first step is grow your network. Grow your network with people in places where you know people. Okay. Now,
Track referrals.
yep, the track referrals is the referrals you send out. Absolutely. Yep. And by the way, don't be afraid to click on any buttons. You can't break anything. So the greatest way to learn this, besides sitting in this class, is just go and sit and be like, let me go here, let me grow. How do I type this in? What happens if I do this? You cannot break this at all. I promise you that. Trust me, I've tried. I'm going to share one other thing for referrals. So that's how to grow your network, how to send referrals out, how to find good agents to send to. But what I want to actually share with you is a story about this agent, Stephen, in California. Everybody knows in California. A story about this agent, Stephen, in California, who grew his business, right? His first year, he's like, I'm going to focus on my sphere here in California. I'm going to focus on expired listings. And I want to focus on building a referral network. And it took him a good 2 years to get to what I'm about to say. Consistency, 2 years, okay? But he knew if he built it, they would come. So what he did is he started by growing his network. Then what he did is he picked one day every week. That's it, just one day. And he's like, this one day every week for 2 hours, I'm going to lead gen agents to build relationships and build that connection. So lead generation is making phone calls, talking to people, having real estate conversations. But instead of calling people we know, instead of calling expireds or for sale by owners or other leads, right? Be like, do you want to buy or sell? He would call an agent and he would be like, hey, my name's Steven. I'm with Keller Williams' office in Orange County, California. I'm growing my referral network. No, I do not have one yet. But what I'm looking to do is build out my map of people throughout the nation, specifically states who I know are big transfers to California, right? And so when I have referrals, I already have the people lined up. And I also would love you to think of me as your connection here in Orange County. Do you already have a referral partner in Orange County? They'd be like, no. Okay, well, I would love to be your referral. I would love to be your referral partner, right? Tell me a little bit about your business. Tell me about yourself. How long you've been in real estate. They've made a friend. You're making friends around the nation, right? So he took one day a week and he spent 2 hours just calling agents in other locations to make that connection to build up that network. So when people thought of, and then he would touch base. So anytime he had a training event, he would invite them through Zoom. Anytime he went to something and took notes, he would share his notes with them. He came from value. He sent them holiday cards. Anytime they sent him a referral, he would send them like a little, thank you card or thank you gift basket or thank you something. Right? So he built this network. Again, it took 2 years, okay? But he built this network where today, now it's now been 5 years since he started. 80% of his business comes from his referral network that he built. 80% of his business comes from his referral network. He does about 40 to 50 closings. He's a single agent, does about 40 to 50 closings per year. And 80% of it comes from other agents at Keller Williams he has made friends with and built connections with and stayed in touch with. Most agents don't think about that, right? That's a whole nother resource for you. All right, on Zoom, let me focus on Zoom really quick. Any questions on Zoom that anybody has? Oops. If you're not able to take yourself off mute, feel free to put in the chat box.
So when you send the invitee to invite the person, at that moment you don't have a referee, you don't have anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the person knows about it. It will not be like, why are you sending this to me? Who are you?
Correct. So if I go to, actually, I'm going to go to Tampa, Florida right now. So if I go here, okay, and let me just pick a place. I don't know anything about Tampa, Florida, but I do have a friend who wants to move there, which is now why I'm looking here. So I just pick a place. So I don't have a referral for Tampa. I do have a friend who in 2 or 3 years from now may want to move there, right? But right now I can say, well, who do I want to connect in Tampa, right? Who do I want to get to know? So I'm going to scroll down this list. Now, again, it looks overwhelming because there's so many names. So it's like, well, who do I pick, right? And it's honestly, I usually go off of, do they have a picture in here? Are they with a team or individual? I typically do individuals, not people on teams, but that's my own personal preference. I might, so now I have to scroll down for individuals, right? I might go and say, I might say, well, let's see here. I'm going to click on this guy, Jason, right? He's closed 31 units. Cool. I'll connect with Jason and I might send him a personal message just because it's nice. It's friendly, right? Right. Hey, Jason, Alana, an agent in Maryland, looking to build my connections in Tampa. I don't have a referral yet, but I have people in the future who might want to move there. I'm just prepping for the future. Also, anybody you know in Maryland would love to be your referral partner. Have an amazing day. Bye. Right,
okay.
Right. So you can send as many as you want.
Okay.
Yeah. What you're doing is you're doing the legwork up front to make those connections, because here's the thing. Do you think there might be somebody in New York thinking moving to Maryland?
Yes.
Like your brother. Okay. So in the future. Okay. So let's say there is you never know when someone is going to move or where they're going to move to or who people know. So if there is an agent in New York, we're going to call that agent Joe. So Joe, the agent in New York, talks to your brother. I was like, oh my God, you're moving to Maryland. That's awesome. And let's pretend like your brother forgets you're in real estate, because my brother does all the time. Hopefully yours does not. So Joe goes, oh, let me refer you over to Agent Rachel. She's amazing. Right? Now your brother is connected to Rachel because Joe does not know that you're an agent. Joe does not know you're in Maryland. Joe, the agent, right? He's not a referrer. He's not a partner of yours yet. So what we're doing here is we're growing our partnerships across the nation. So they can also send us something. Referrals can be really powerful. So I became a full-time referral agent, minus a few deals I just randomly chose to do here and there. And in 2019, because again, I coach full-time, in 2019, it was 2019, I made $22,000 just on referrals. Now, that means $22,000 was made from other people doing all the work and me simply sending, hey, I have this person, I made a connection, I'm going to send them to you. And then me doing maybe a little follow-up. How's it going? Everything going well? You have, just a little follow-up. But I'm not showing houses. I'm not writing contracts. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just simply sat back, and when it closed, I saw this pretty check for $1,500, $2,700, $2,100. It was beautiful.
Oh.
Absolutely beautiful. So do not discount the power of the referral. All right, we are out of time. So let me just open it up for a quick minute for any questions. Again, one, call the people you know in other states or countries, we're in 52 countries, and let them know that you have partners and any real estate needs they have, you want to be their first person they go to help them. Number two is go on here, click on My Network, and grow your network. Just connect with some people. All right, everyone, if you need help, if you get stuck on something, please reach out to us. Let us help you and make it a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was really, really helpful. Thank you so much.
Very
Okay.
helpful.
I
Very
love
helpful.
being helpful.
I figure I'll wait for comments since you opened it up to questions first.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.